Hi, my name is Jennifer Brown, and I'd like to talk to you about motorcycle helmet usage. There are a lot of people who enjoy riding a motorcycle. There's just something about it that people can't seem to resist. Maybe it's the wind in their hair or the freedom. But one thing people seem to forget is the risk. People wearing a helmet are still putting themselves in great danger because of the lack of protection involved. Those who choose not to wear a helmet are risking certain death. The only thing stopping your head from being split open in the event of a crash is a helmet. Still, a lot of riders choose not to wear the proper safety equipment. Maybe it doesn't look cool, or it's uncomfortable or hot, but that's a small price to pay in a chance at surviving a crash. In Kentucky, as of July of 1998, the law states that helmets are only required to be worn by riders and operators under the age of 21, those who only have their permit, and operators who have had their license for less than a year. So if you're over the age of 21 and you've had your license for more than a year, you don't have to wear your helmet. Before 1998, motorcyclists who had at least $10,000 in medical coverage could receive a helmet exemption sticker. Before the amendment in 1998, the percent of helmeted riders was 96. After the law changed, the percent dropped to 56 by 2001. In 2 years following the law change, the percent of crash fatalities increased by 50%. I don't understand the reasoning behind this concept. When you're operating a motor vehicle, you absolutely have to wear a seatbelt, no questions asked. But if you're operating a motorcycle, you have a choice. I think it should be a mandatory requirement regardless of how long you've had your license. Motorcycles are much more dangerous than motor vehicles. 77% of crashes involving motorcycles are struck from the front, while only 7% are struck from behind. 47% of these crashes prove to be fatal for the motorcyclists. Accidents involving stationary objects such as trees or lampposts are 25% more likely to be fatal to someone operating a motorcycle than someone operating a passenger vehicle. Wearing a helmet reduces the risk of death by 37%. The reason a rider chooses not to wear a helmet is probably different for every case, but a study done by the National Highway Traffic Safety Association in 2007 shows that motorcycle deaths increased 78% from 2000 to 2007. Choosing not to wear a helmet greatly increases your risk of not surviving in a crash. Per mile traveled, motorcyclists are 35 times more likely to die than those in a passenger vehicle. There are very few ways to protect yourself from being severely injured or from death while operating a motorcycle. You should wear the proper clothing and riding gear, such as leather jackets and sturdy pants. The jacket and pants will protect you from road rash and other injuries, but a helmet is the only thing that's going to protect your head. Only 20 states require the usage of helmet at all times. 2 states have no laws, and the remaining 28 states have partial laws, such as Kentucky. Despite the fact that helmets are proven to increase a person's rate of survival, the law is still not enforced. Although people may argue that choosing whether or not to wear a helmet should be an individual choice, it's irresponsible not to. In an article done by Steve Chapman, he argues that the government should not make it illegal to not wear a helmet because it poses no risk to anyone except the rider. Well, I have to disagree. Just for argument's sake, let's create a fictional biker, and we'll call him Joe. Let's say Joe is taking a leisurely bike ride, and he doesn't wear a helmet because he doesn't want to. Along comes the driver in a car, and they don't see Joe, which is all too common. The driver hits Joe, and he instantly dies from head trauma. Although this is a hypothetical situation, it happens all the time. If Joe had worn a helmet, then maybe he would have lived. Some people may not sympathize with the person who accidentally killed the motorcyclist, but accidents happen. Odds are the driver who hit Joe would be just as upset over the taking another person's life as the family of the victim. You have to consider as well the family of the rider who chooses not to wear a helmet. Chances are that Joe's mom pleads with him daily to wear a helmet. So when Joe dies, is his family not also a victim? One man, named Philip A. Contos, was participating in a ride in New York protesting the state's mandatory helmet laws. During this ride, Contos lost control of his motorcycle and his head hit the pavement. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, and the medical examiner stated that he would no doubt have survived if he had been wearing a helmet. I'm not saying that every single person who dies in a motorcycle accident would automatically live if they had worn a helmet, but why take the chance? If it increases your odds of survival, why not fork over the $40? Just an example of a life lost that didn't have to be. Jim Headland of the Governor's Highway Safety Association told the Associated Press that a helmet meeting federal standards reduces the chance of fatality by more than 40%. In a study done by the CDC, it has shown that helmets reduce the risk of head injury by 69%. In 2008, helmets saved over 1,800 riders' lives. Another 800 could have been saved if all riders wore helmets. They also give some safety tips, which include wearing a DOT-approved helmet, wearing bright reflective clothing so other motorists can see you, and to avoid tailgating. In a new study published by the Journal of the American College of Surgeons, they have addressed a controversial debate over whether or not helmets cause spinal injuries during crashes. There's a 25-year-old study that indicates more spinal injuries in victims of a crash wearing a helmet. This study has been criticized by many, including the National Highway Traffic Safety Association. In addition, advances in technology have increased the durability of newer helmets. They're becoming lighter, more comfortable, and sturdier. If you personally know any riders, then I'm sure you've probably heard some of the same sorry excuses that I have. Some of my favorites are, I pay attention to everyone around me. I know what I'm doing. I've been riding for years. The helmet blows back in the wind and the chin strap chokes me. I could go on and on. In a roundabout way, what they're really trying to tell you is that they think they're invincible. Accidents are called that for a reason. They're not intentional. Nobody that gets in an accident and is injured, or dies for that matter, expects it to happen. If they did, they probably wouldn't have ridden that day. What I'm trying to say is, no matter how skilled you may think you are, or how uncomfortable your helmet may be, you need to think of someone other than yourself. Think of those around you who are not paying attention, and think of those who love you. Thank you for listening. Bye.